Okay. Looks like my camera has frozen a little bit. So let's get my other camera. Oh, hey, there I am. Hi. So I hope you're well. Today we are working on the painting that I started last week. And I have, well, I have kind of a new setup that I don't know if it's going to work. But we'll find out soon enough, right? I've got a light here that's supposed to be lighting up what's behind me, but I don't like the way it looks. And I have a new camera arm, but I don't have the, what is it? The adapter that makes it go from a mic stand to a camera mount. You can buy these, they're super, you get like 2 or 3 for $5-7. And I have been making myself absolutely crazy trying to figure it out. So everything is held together with duct tape and prayer. So we are going to hope for the best when it comes to having it be enough to do an art stream with. Okay? So if you're here at all from my music streams, welcome. My name is Wynne. I'm a musician and an artist outside of Seattle, Washington. And it is roughly 6 o'clock local time, 6 p.m. You can do your math. Welcome to all of the crazy stuff that is over here that should probably not be in camera, but at this point I'm not terribly concerned. What I would like is for this not to get in the way of whatever light I have here. And this setup is always changing because I'm used to just sticking the camera up there and drawing a picture in a sketchbook, but I'm not going to do that today. So let's get over to the desk draw setting that I have. There we are. Yeah, I got a little bit of light issues going on here. Let's see, where is this coming from? So I'm probably going to, yeah, I kind of wish this would focus. I've had these problems with focusing my camera for God knows how long. It makes me crazy. Because everything's crazy. Ba, 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 ba. I might just have to clip that light somewhere else. Yep, that looks like what I'm gonna have to do. So here is, oh, now it's focused. Now it's super focused. All right, there we go. And I probably will end up putting this out of the camera range. It's a thing, you know? So let me get the other light figured out, and You'll have to look at my midsection on camera until I've got that figured out. Apparently my microphone has been off all this time. This is fantastic. Here I am talking about paint. I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing, and none of it's getting out there. I have put a big blotch of this, and I need a damp something or other. This right here on the towel, on the dryer, it's got a yellow stripe on it. I need that to be damp. Cool or warm water. This is fantastic. Okay, look in the bottom of that basket. See if it's in there, or it's on the washer. I don't know. Did I pick up dirt? No. I need more than that water. Make the whole thing damp, please. This is awesome. I'm gonna have to do a whole new thing because now I have paint on the floor. All right, so now I have something that will get something out of my hoodie. So early on in my first streams, I dropped an entire palette on the floor, and it didn't get my carpet. It didn't get the mat under my chair. It went straight to the LVP. Straight to it. Like it was aiming for it. And, well, I haven't been able to get it out, but this time I have exactly what I need. All right, I'm going to make another batch of this kind of gray navy. And hope for the best, that I'm not going to drop it, because that would be awesome. And I'm going to make a whole bunch of it because I'm going to need different tones, and I want to be able to add white, you know, to, or yellow or green or whatever to make it pop up. So we have 3 parts of the ultramarine blue, 1 part white, 1 part black, muted. That's very unfortunate. All right, let's mix this baby up. That was a lot of black. I might need more blue in this. But you know what? This is super close. I think it is the same thing. But I'm going to add a little blue to it anyway. Because I don't want it to be gray, I want it to be blue. That's a lot more blue than what it was before, so that's good. Let's see if I can put this on my Stay Wet palette without dropping it on the floor. That'd be great. Awesome. All right. So we have this, and I'm going to real quick scrape this off so I can do some other mixing. I want to be prepared, you know? All right, let me move my camera one more time. So what I have is, I have a couple of blue dresses here. And I kind of need to make some shade in this area. So I wonder what I'm going to do. Because I have this green, and I want it to be just a little darker. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add a little red. Just a little bit of red. I don't like using a regular palette just because this is easier to clean. I have a clear plastic one. I have a wooden one. I have a lot of paper ones. And the paper ones are great because you can just use it and throw it out. But maybe I don't want to throw all this stuff out. Maybe I just want to mix some paint. Maybe I just want to see the day. Maybe I just want to make this look good. Or something close. I don't usually sing, but apparently that's not something that YouTube likes. I don't care, I'm just being me. Shooby-doo. All right, there we go. There's my highlight color for the dresses.
Discovery Houston Press to ATO.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight in the orbit of Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
So I do have news. But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until a little later. Because I know specific people have been asking about this news. And you know what? I want to wait to give that to them. This is so hard. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out. It should still be pliable. Yeah. And if you were here last time when I was pre-mixing a lot of these colors, you'd know I was working on keeping them for future use. So I'm going to go back into my recipe book. And to keep this from drying out, I'm going to just put this right here for a few minutes while I look up that color. so I have this color. This to be a little darker or a little greener. There we go. Do we have something that's a little greener than this? There's this one. This one is greener. Not quite dark enough. Too bright. That looks like it would work. Just needs to be in the ballpark. Yep, there we go. Write down the number, dresses, and shadows. So I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to set it aside. Actually, I should probably grab that other plate and put this on a new plate.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Okay, this one takes cerulean blue and black. Two parts of cerulean blue. I'm just going to use this whole thing right here. And 1 part black. Let's see where this goes. It's amazing how green this turned out. Okay, so that looks familiar. Here, I'll show you. It's hard to tell with this light. Just kind of a green-blue kind of thing. And just to keep things even, I'm going to put a little bit of that other color that I just put in here. I'm going to add that. Let's hope for the best. Yeah, it needs something warm in there. Should I put some white in it? I think I'm going to put a little bit of white in here. Come on. But I definitely need something warm. Let's see. Now, one thing I should tell you about the way I paint is that my colors are never spot on. They're never going to be exactly like the photo I'm trying to emulate. It's more of a learning experience, you know? I'm going to stick with raw sienna for right now. I don't need a lot of it. Just a little. Oh, there we go. That is almost perfect. I think what I'm going to do is just mix the whole thing in there, and that should even it out. going to put it in here along with the others that I'm probably going to use over time. Alright, I think I'm done mixing paint for a little bit, so I'm going to find a place to put these, or at least one of these, so I don't have to deal with it. Hopefully that's enough mixing for now. Now, the only reason I'm cleaning this up is because I don't want dry chunks of acrylic in what I'm going to do next. Oh, this is scary. Just a little scary. Scary, scary, scary. Should I use this? I want to use a big fluffy brush. This is a big fluffy brush, but it's soft. Alright, I think I have a brush that'll work. I don't have nice brushes for things like this. I have utilitarian brushes. You know what? This one is a nice soft brush. And I don't want this to be super heavy. have to go a little darker because this needs to be dark. Well, my mic is not working because I'm not talking in it. No. Maybe I should be breathing in it. Bum 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 bum. How are you doing, DBT? It's so nice to see you. Always nice to see you. Yay, it works. Yeah, I've had a couple of paint mishaps today. One of them involved my hoodie, and the other one involved the floor. Lots of gloopy goodness. So I have news. So it turns out that the person I was interviewing with last week went on to interview like 6 or 7 more people. Exciting, right? And I get a call today saying, hey, looks like you might be up in the running for this. I'm like, what? So she had me, got a phone call. Oh, well, I haven't spoken a whole lot. My apologies, you say. Oh, let me see if I can do a little something about the visibility of my text. No, that's okay. I haven't really said a whole lot. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, there we go. Let's go with... It did get super quiet, you know? But that's okay. My mic is a bit quieter than the music. I think I might turn down the music a little bit, because I am speaking a bit softly. And hopefully you won't have to turn up the volume too much. But I do have news. I have news, and it is both good and bad. I believe I was mentioning the job interview, and the interviewer had several other interviews to go through. This is correct. This is very correct. And I got a call this morning from the recruiter who told me this, and she says, "You know what? I think you might be able to nail this if you would rewrite your follow-up note." And I went, "Okay. I'm not sure what you mean, but I'm down." Okay. So apparently she didn't pass along the note that I originally wrote, because in the way that I usually do it is I'll write to the recruiter because they always want to know how the interview went. And, well, she didn't pass it along. They usually end up passing it along. And they didn't do it this time. So they had me rewrite it. Gave me a little bit of ideas on where I should emphasize my interests, because I am interested, but I'm also slightly terrified. And this time around, I don't really have the luxury of just not taking the job. And the only reason that I would not take this job if it was offered is fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. None of that sounds bad. It sounds like it was a judgment call of the recruiter to hold back. When they got more info, give me some creative criticism. Yeah, I've worked with this recruiter many times in the past. Many times. So she knows what she's talking about, and I trust her. But still, my original note was more of feedback for her than to the actual hiring manager. You know, like, this is how I feel like I went. Everything was fine. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know if I'm going to be good for this job, but it is super interesting. But let me just have a moment here. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. It's one of my favorite parts of the Dune books. But yeah, a lot of the fear is just, it's been a while. It's been a while, and I don't know exactly what to do with that. Ah, yes. That is called the Litany Against Fear, the Litany of the Bene Gesserit. I used to have it memorized, but I do not anymore. I had to look it up. So your Derek must be a Frank Herbert fan. My mother was a big fan of the Dune books and of Frank Herbert, and she once recommended to me a book he wrote called The White Plague. And I thought, okay. And I tried to read it, but turns out Frank Herbert is not it's not an author I'm comfortable, or he's not an easy read, you know. He was just really into the Dunes, though. Oh yeah, Dune. Well, they're good. It's a classic, really. It's a sci-fi classic. I just have a really hard time. A really hard time getting into those books. I think my mother read it probably about 4 times in the time that I noticed. Hey, Mama, didn't you read that book a while back? I know, but it's so good. It's so good. I can't believe you're not reading this. Sorry, Mama. I didn't mind the read, but I didn't find it anything special. Well, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know how some authors, you just can't finish the book because their writing style just doesn't create any imagination in you. Because that's one of the reasons I was such a voracious reader as a child, is that I wanted to be in my head, you know? I wanted to be in my own head, and I wanted to read things that kept me there. Oh dear, what have I done? My mom and I have this argument. She said to me, some of these authors just go on and on and on with their descriptions of things. And I say, Mom, I like, well, with the lack of vision. Okay, painting the world around you and giving you a detailed idea of what they're trying to get across is good. She's like, yeah, yes. But do they have to go on like that all the time? Maybe that's the problem I had with Frank Herbert. Maybe. Oh dear. Okay. I think that's funny. But then again, sci-fi has always been one of those things that has to paint a huge picture, especially if they are world building, you know. Just started to figure that she just wants to get through the story. That's what the movie adaptations are for, right? Like, for instance, I have no interest really in finishing the Dune books, even though I know all of the mythology, all of the world. The story being told was just so slow. Because, you know, the movie adaptations, they always take the story first. Figure out, how do you tell the story? There's never been a movie that I have liked better than reading the books. I can see that. Although I will tell you, there is an adaptation of the book Children of Men that I thought did a really good job. I really enjoyed Children of Men because it was like a dystopian future where people stopped having babies. There was just, it was a big infertility thing, and the youngest person alive was probably 25 years old. The whole place is full of unrest, and it's just a really sad place to live. But the main character, of Children of Men, he's on a mission of some kind. He heard a rumor or something, and he discovers a pregnant woman. She's living in a commune, and he needs to transport her someplace, and there's an adventure going on with that. And I remember going to see the film after reading the book, and I thought it was really well done. I do think some film directors do a really good job of telling the story that the books have. Oh, yeah. Like the Stephen King books. The Stephen King books, they translate really well to screen. But I don't have the patience for horror movies anymore. I do have the patience for thrillers, just not horror. I used to be a huge horror fan. I think I lost my enthusiasm for horror movies and horror novels when horror turned into gore porn, you know? But you know, the horror, like those gory movies, those are really popular. I don't understand why. I don't understand why either. I'm not a huge fan. Yeah, there's just something about it's messy. That's what it is. It's cheap storytelling. It's kind of the cheap storytelling like they do with children's movies, you know? Children's movies are all about the same thing for the most part. But I understand it, you know? You want to catch somebody's attention and sell some videos? There we go. And I don't know why parents fall for it. Some do. They just buy all of them. Hopefully, they stop when a kid gets really obsessed with one movie. Frozen. I swear my niece was obsessed with Frozen for like 2 years. When I told my sister, I said, well, you know what? I've never seen Frozen. She dragged me into her living room, put me on her sofa, and put in the movie. And she says, you want to spend time with your niece? Here you go. I thought, oh yeah, that's great. I love that. Wonderful, thank you. And then I proceeded to watch it 3 times. So now I get it. Frozen is a good example for sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. So tell me something, DBT. I'm having an issue on my end where my screen is kind of flickering. And I'm wondering if it's flickering for you. So I'm wondering if I'm going to get that job. Got to think about that a little bit. My wife's dad drove the bus for younger kids, and I made him a Christmas CD of music. About 30 songs, anywhere from the old Rudolph song all the way up to Dominic the Donkey. Oh, that's an odd song. I throw a couple of Frozen songs in there and Baby Shark, but the Christmas version, he couldn't understand why the kids would lose their mind when the songs he didn't recognize, being the Frozen ones, would come on and they would sing at the top of their lungs. Oh, that's adorable. That is really adorable. I think it's our job as adults to just be confused by kids. But you know, for me, when I was that age, it was all about Sesame Street. Cause I'm alive, do 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 do. Yes, I'm alive. Yes, I'm alive. Like, I don't exactly know what you put on those CDs, but now all the other bus drivers are asking for copies. You made 30 copies of that CD? That's amazing. You know what? I would probably do the same thing. I can hear an entire school bus of kids just singing Let It Go. That is just too much. Now I want a copy. I was the most popular person in that school district that no one ever knew just because the CDs kept the kids happy. That's awesome.
Discovery Houston, press to ATO.
I can't remember the last time I did elementary school, but I know that when I did, it was a lot of fun, and the kids definitely had something that I don't remember. I think the Power Rangers were like really popular, and so there were a lot of kids I had to grab on the playground and say, hey, I love Power Rangers too, man. But we can't do that on the playground. Leave the butt kicking for someplace else. Can't remember what the girls liked back then. I just know I would get home from those shifts at the elementary school, and the first thing I do is turn on the TV and watch Animaniacs. And for a while there, I knew all of the countries of the world. And then there was something later on when I was into the internet a little bit more, people saying, oh, well, it's not all of the countries. Dude, I don't care. It's a fun song. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I've got a reference photo that's a little lighter. Than what I've been looking at on my paper. And I'm trying to get the shadows just right. Or should I say, I'm trying to get the light parts just right. There always has to be someone who decides, oh, everyone's liking this. Let me go pick it apart and run it for everybody. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's always the way. I mean, there's so many things right now that I really enjoy, but people had to ruin it. And we do it to ourselves for the most part. Oh, hey, here's a joke. Isn't this funny? No, it's not funny. It kind of ruined my whole enthusiasm for this. Okay. Where else am I needing some light? I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but I don't take it as far as some people do. But you know what? It's a meme economy. People always have to make a meme of something. Many years ago, there was this there's this website called Encyclopedia Dramatica. And Encyclopedia Dramatica had all of the memes and all of the internet celebrities and the origins where they started. And then at some point, someone actually bought it and turned it into Know Your Meme. And Know Your Meme has everything. It's like Encyclopedia Dramatica, but it is, I don't know, it covers a lot more. But yeah, there's some Star Wars theories that I thought were kind of fun. Making connections between fandoms and what this and that and the other thing means. Thinking about the fear, maybe if you just focus on what is past it. The exciting job I'm going to have, the money that's going to come from it, the experiences that are going to come from being a part of the company. Yeah. Well, I'm going to level with you, DBT. There's a lot more to it than just nerves. Like, I'm not sure if you're aware that I have some serious sleep issues. And since my last job ended a couple of years ago, I've been experiencing a lot of, I don't know, gaps in my memory. And I used to think it's because I'm not getting enough sleep. No. It's not that I'm not getting enough sleep, because I am sleeping. I'm not getting enough rest. And for a while there, I thought I had ADHD because I was having a hard time focusing. But, no, that wasn't it. It's not that I had ADHD, because I've never expressed signs of it. It's sleep deprivation. So I'm worried that I won't be able to get my sleep stuff together in time. And I'm worried it'll affect learning how to do the job. But, I'm told that at some point, because I have a sleep study scheduled, at some point I will be okay. I will have all the contraptions that I need, and my sleep will improve, and my brain will be able to finally do what it's supposed to do. But that's most of my worry. I mean, I was told a long time ago by a woman who was testing software with me, and she had worked for a bank for like 30, 40 years. And testing children's software was kind of her second act, you know? And I said, well, you know what? I'm worried that if I'm unemployed too long, then I'm just not going to be able to figure it out. And she said to me, oh, it comes back to you. It comes back to you. It's like riding a bike. You just do it. And yeah, you probably have things to learn. But don't we all when we start a new job? So I'm trying to think of Rosemary and the things that she told me when we were cube mates. A very wise lady, that one. So I'm just worried that mentally I might not be up to it. But, you know, I've talked to my husband a number of times since this popped up, and he says, you know what, we could always use the money. It would give us one less thing to worry about while I look for my next gig or what have you. So just go with it. You'll be all right. And you know, he's right. I am really fortunate to be even considered for this job, and that I have such a good recruiter who was thinking of me all this time. She's like, oh yeah, this came across my desk and you're the first person I thought about. Because she and I had talked many times about, you know, hey, I've got I get a lot of creative director stuff and assistant creative director stuff. I can hook you up with some people if you want. I'm like, yeah. Give me some. All of it's a way to propel myself past the worry. I am a worrier. I shouldn't be, because it's a waste of my imagination to worry so much. You ever heard that said? Worry is a waste of your imagination. That definitely is a real concern. If you're referring to sleep apnea, trust me, I live with it every day. Being able to lay down and get rest is one thing. Being able to lay down and let your body fall into a deep sleep that your body actually needs to rest, recover, heal, all that stuff is needed, yeah. And I used to think that it was because I wasn't getting enough sleep, but then I started to actually get enough sleep, and it didn't help. So I have to, I'm way overdue for my sleep study, and it is next month. And I don't know how it is in Canada, but here in the States, I scheduled this sleep study like 2 months ago. And I scheduled my follow-up at the same time. And that is another month and a half after the sleep study. It was the soonest they could get me in. imagine being overdue for that help and just not doing it. They're quite behind here as well, but if they find something severe with mine, we'd hope they would call sooner than a month and a half. Yeah. I told them to put me on a wait list, and if something pops up before then, like there's a cancellation, I told them, I said, hey, I work from home. I can be there in like 15 minutes. I also have a couple of other things that I really need to take care of, but I shouldn't put them off, because if it takes them that long to just schedule something, I can deal with the fear after I've made the appointment, you know? Unfortunately for myself, I can't sleep with a CPAP right now because there's a chance of it damaging my eye. Oh no. However, those I know who've been able to make it work for themselves and get comfortable in the machine swear by it. Oh yeah. They absolutely do. My mother had a CPAP, and my dad has one. And I've had several friends that I didn't know slept with a CPAP machine, but they're like, it's night and day, and you're gonna wonder why you were even bothered by it. Well, for one, I'm not a back sleeper, I'm a side sleeper. So there's always that. However, those I know, yeah, they swear by it, and I've been told by several people I just need to bite the bullet and do it. All right, I think I have everything I need in this particular chunk. I feel like it needs to be darker, but trying to get back into it, because 10 years ago when I was trying to deal with it, I slept on my stomach and sides. It was a big deal. Yeah. The technology and masks they have these days, that's not even a problem anymore. You know, that's what I'm reading. I'm reading that they've made so many big changes in CPAP designs. My dad's been after me to do the CPAP thing for a while. He's like, yeah, you need to do it. And then he said, the only thing I don't like is that I can't adjust it myself. have to contact the office. They make adjustments on the app that I have. Everything has an app. It's always an app. And so I have to call them, and then they change it, and I can't tell them how much because they already know. It's always an app. It comes back, yeah. Did you know that they even have an app for taking your pulse? You just put your finger over the light on the back of your on the back of your phone, and you press a button on the app, and it just takes your blood pressure or your pulse for you, which is just wild to me. But I think the worst part of my sleep deprivation is what my physician calls intermittent narcolepsy. Intermittent narcolepsy. It's usually happens right after I eat. So I have to be careful about what I eat before a stream, or I will end up with my face in whatever it is that I'm drawing. Yes, but do they have an app to help you organize all the apps that you have? Oh, Lord. They better. I mean, that would be super nice. So what you're saying is what you eat can cause me, yeah, especially if it's sugary or heavy carbs or starch. I started to show signs of this on a road trip. Because you know how, I don't know what your road snacks are, but my road snacks are usually things like crackers and M&Ms, and maybe if I'm driving, I'll do like what do you call it? The 5-hour energy kind of stuff. I would get my energy out of it, and then I'd be very, very drowsy. If I'm careful and I do lots of counting, then I'm okay. But it doesn't always work that way. The worst for me is being in a group of people or around others and everything goes quiet. That idleness is what gets the best of me, and I find I cannot nod off. Is that what that should translate to?
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbit Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
The idleness and quietness causes me to doze off. Oh, I see. Okay. I get it now.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Yeah, the quietness wakes me up. I know that sounds very strange. I have to sleep with a fan or some kind of white noise. I know that creates a dependency on that noise, but for a long time, I just couldn't fall asleep. I couldn't figure out why. And then I turned on a fan and everything was so much better. There's something about that stillness that creates an unease in me. Maybe it was that period of time when I was very excited about horror movies because everything gets really quiet. Sounds like there's a news program or something bleeding into my audio. Actually, it's funny that you should mention that. This particular audio has a snippet of the audio from the Discovery landing. So you might be hearing that. But other than that, I don't have anything else going on there. Yeah, and this particular one, the reason I picked it today is that I didn't know how long I was going to be streaming. And the ones I really enjoy painting with, they only are 3-hour ones. I mean, they quit right at 3:05, 3:09. And I'm usually still painting. So this up here is really textured, and I don't like it. So I'm going to try and get a stiff brush and see if I can make a dent in it. I might have to get a blade in there. Yeah, I've had every time I use this though, even though it's longer and it says on YouTube, hey, it's copyright free, no royalties. Twitch always dings me. They say, hey, we've muted part of your audio. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, man? They're like, yep. And I go back in, I look at my archive, and I listen to it, and it's the part where they're doing they're doing the thing with the discovery audio. I might just have to paint over these. The thing is if I do too much scrubbing, come on you. All right. If I do too much scrubbing, I will end up with too much canvas texture. That is, I do not want.
Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
So I meant to listen more from the Bandcamp of my albums. Did get a chance to listen to the one, I believe it's called I Know, okay. Really enjoyed the song Birmingham. Oh, thank you. A few other tunes, can't remember the names. That's fine. Well, thank you. I'm really glad you like it. Everybody has their favorites, you know? And, you know, it probably is a good album. It's just my memories of writing for the songs and stuff, they're just not... They're not what I really wanted to do. I try not to badmouth that album too much because I'm not the only one that worked on it. And I think that was album number 3. And by then, my guitarist, who was getting very much into the audio thing, my guitarist was very, very proud of his work. And you know what? That's awesome. For me, the thing I don't like about it is the content, not the production values. You know what I mean? That album had the one you were talking about the boyfriend or partner that kept lurking. Yeah. I thought everything I was writing about, yeah, that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. Good memory. I mean, there's some songs that still, they age well. Because they could fit anybody. It's neat because I heard you tell the story and then play it acoustically. Yeah. Did you get to listen to the 6-minute long hidden track? The Neverland track? Every song has a story, and not everybody gets to tell their stories. And at this point in my music, having the story to just lead the way in the song, to motivate you with the writing, that's kind of important. So you see what I mean by he was not very pleased with it. He didn't like it. He didn't like playing it. It just wasn't his style. It was too slow. He was just a high energy guy. I get that. And I will recommend the book that was based on. Brahm, the author of that book, he usually does kind of dark, little dark novels, dark fantasy novels. And I thought that The Child Thief was a really well-written one, and I don't say that about a lot of books, but not judging, but listening to the album, I'm not sure if that song fit on it. That's fair. I'm not here to say or tell people how and who. It was, and that's why it was a hidden track. So when we printed up the CDs and the liner notes and all that, it wasn't anywhere on the album. You couldn't see it on the song list. You would actually have to listen to it all the way through. And then it's like, oh, there's an extra track here. What the heck? So yeah, you're right. And that's not a judgment thing. That's an observation, my friend. You're absolutely right. It doesn't fit there. There was another song that we wrote that sounded really awesome. And it was, what was it called? The album, let's see, the song was about, well, if you just listen to the lyrics, and I don't have a recording of this anywhere, but if you listened to the lyrics, it was about a woman who was eaten by her cats. Very dark. Yeah, it does, because I couldn't put it as a hidden track. It had to be listed. And that's why you were able to see it there. I heard thumping and I don't know what it was. Pumped it into the speaker and was doing things in the basement, so really wasn't paying attention to the exact order. Yeah, it was just it's one of those things where, okay, how do I do this? You can't do a hidden track when it comes to stuff like that. I could have left it off. I mean, but I didn't want to. I wanted as many people to hear that track as possible. Yeah, it is the perfect place for it, isn't it? Now, I've mentioned that I'm a big fan of Better Than Ezra, right? Well, one of their albums has a hidden track. And actually, two of their albums have hidden tracks in them. But the thing is that nobody knows about the hidden track on the first album because it's not on every copy of the album. So I'm listening to their first album, Deluxe, and I'm thinking, oh, this is great, because I had bought this album from somebody else. And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm so glad to have a copy of this album again. And I put it on in my computer because I was listening to it at work. And the album was over and I was almost ready to, hit repeat on it because I wasn't done. And then this song comes on. And it's the most ridiculous thing I think I'd ever heard in my life. It's like, okay, here's a bunch of 20-somethings that have a little extra studio time, so let's fart around, fellas. And I think their second album, Friction Baby, that one has a hidden track on it, but everybody knows what that is because it's on every print. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a ridiculous thing. They're talking about nachos or something. It was crazy. I couldn't tell you how many copies I've had of Deluxe at this point in my life. You could say 10, and I would believe you. I think I even found a cassette tape of it somewhere and had to buy it. Did they release that in the age of cassettes? Oh my. Things have so evolved. I can't complain. Everything old is new again. It bugs me a little bit that some of my favorite albums from that period in my life, they are just, they're out of print. They're out of print. We'll never get another copy of them unless somebody found it in their stuff and put it on eBay. It was early 90s, but I think if they're smart, they did it in both forms, yeah? I have a cassette tape. I used to have it on CD. This album, it's a compilation. And it's called Spirit of 73. Excuse me, oh goodness. Spirit of 73 was a compilation of women artists all singing top 40 hits from 1973. Stone Temple Pilots, yeah, second album. Oh, that album was genius. Their front man was genius, and it still breaks my heart that he died the way he did. Oh, I knew who you were talking about. What was his name? Scott. I wish I could remember the name. I mean, it's something that's always on the tip of my tongue. I'm just having a moment. Wyland, yes. Exactly. I do not know how to change my frame rate. I'm going to have to look that up. Open widget? What do you mean open widget? Okay, that's great. Keep telling me all that stuff. Stop saying it's a widget. The tattoo I have is off that second album cover. Oh, yeah. I have many friends with tattoos of band logos, and I don't have any because I could never, one, I could never decide which one I wanted, and two, I'm kind of, pardon my French, chicken shit. So, I just can't do it. For a while there, because I collected skunks when I was younger, and it had a lot to do with, and I don't know if you're familiar with this movie, it's called Ladies and Gentlemen, the Fabulous Stains. Laura Dern, Diane Lane, Christine Lottie, that kind of thing. It was a rite of passage. And when people started to really do the tattoo thing, like on the regular, I remember I was in my second year of college, and everybody was getting a tattoo. Everybody. We would go from Pullman, which was where the university was, and from there we would go up to the nearest city because there weren't any tattoo parlors. There were no tattoo parlors in any of the, not even in the county, because you know, Washington is pretty much farmland on that side of the state. So they'd all go to Spokane and get their tattoos done. I remember one of my besties, she got a rose on her ankle. And unfortunately, she had a sensitivity to the ink. Nobody knew that that was a thing at the time. That there were sorority girls getting their letters put on their ankle. Some of them getting in trouble for it. But I thought that if it was on my ankle, it would be okay. She ended up, my friend with the sensitivity, she just ended up using some antibiotics to clear up the infection. Her body got used to it, so it's not like she had to have it removed, but it was still something that you don't really want to discover like that. These colors are not what I want. Still not what I want. Not really, yeah. Oh no, she lost a foot. No, it wasn't anything like that. But it was really distressing because once she got that tattoo, she's like, oh yeah, I totally want to get this and this and this. And then it's like, no. She probably has more now because people are more aware of those sensitivities and can plan for it. I haven't spoken to that friend in a long time. We were in touch until a few years after college. She let me crash on her couch for a couple of months while I found my own place. But see, here's the thing. And this is where we go story time on you, okay? I was with this guy for a while who, he was kind of, there was something off about him. And when I tried to get away from him, he started to stalk me. And it was around that time that I was living with my friend, and everyone else in my life was like, holy crap, do you need us to call the police? I'm perfectly capable of calling the police. But all of my friends except for her were very much horrified and worried for my safety. And she told me that I just needed to let it go, that he loved me. Like, this guy has never said I love you in his life. So no, he doesn't love me. He wants me. And he can't stand it that I don't want him. So, I don't talk to her much anymore, but I'm pretty sure that she's got a lot of tattoos by now. last I heard, she sent me a newsletter. We hadn't spoken in 10 years. But I ended up on her Christmas email list. She sent me a little thing that was really nice. So I'm glad she's happy. But it didn't make me want to contact her again. Hopefully everyone in her life loves her in the proper way and not in a stalker way. Oh, yeah. That was the one and only time I was ever stalked. Kind of glad. You know, it's been well over 20 years, maybe 30 by now. So I imagine that she's probably grown up a bit. Like you do, you know? There are very few people that I still know from that particular point in my life. With the exception of my husband, of course. But even the two of us, had a big gap in communication, you know? Oh, it's been 25 years? Well, yeah, it has. Hot damn. How about that? Hot diggity damn. It's been so long, baby. It's been so long. I can't believe you're standing here with me, hanging out with coffees. Gonna catch up soon, find out where in the moon we wanna land. There's still some spots in here I am just not happy with. And of course I keep putting my paintbrushes down. 13 years at the end of April for the wife and I. Congratulations. That's a lot of patience and a lot of work. I remember my grandmother telling me that she and my grandfather used to get up in the morning, and as they had their morning coffee, they aired their grievances. They aired their grievances, and they figured out their next moves. They talked about bills. It's like they had a daily scrum for their marriage. And I remember as a kid, getting up in the morning when I'm visiting them, and they're just doing their little powwow with their Sanka coffees and I don't remember when they got married. From the picture that I have of them, it looks like they might have been married for, 40 years, I guess. Someone mentioned to me once when I was younger, when it came to marriage, never go to bed angry at each other. And I've always had that mentality. It takes a special person to be able to do that, I find. So if you can do that, if you can pull it off, now I have not gone to bed because I'm angry. Because I don't want to go to bed angry. And these days, I try not to pick a fight if it's too close to bedtime. I think that's standard and good advice to any married couple. What I wish someone had told me before my first marriage is that the first couple of years are always going to be the hardest. And some couples try to get around that by living together. And some are very successful in letting that be their adjustment period. I think that's wonderful. However, some people get married and they think they have to flip a switch between being a boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouse. And I think that's what gets people. That and expectations. I'm sure you have learned that one already. hope that this is going to be exactly what I need it to be. I have to think about where exactly is a good space to stop, because some of this stuff you don't want to stop in the wrong spot, you know? It's not an easy thing to make sure you don't go to bed angry, that's for sure. I always laugh at those newlyweds who are like, oh, we have no problems, we're perfect together, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, great, just wait, it'll change. Oh yeah, you're lying to each other and not doing each other any favors. I think the true test is surviving the wedding. People don't realize exactly how much stress. It's like a trial by fire, to be honest. Planning a wedding, it will just really test. It'll really test your relationship. Let's see, what have I got here? Well, if the guy is smart, he'll realize it's not his day. Yeah, so true, so true. So true, my man. But my first wedding, it was very stressful because I didn't want a wedding. I wanted to go to Las Vegas. I wanted to go to Las Vegas and get married by an Elvis impersonator. And I said, well, are you going to plan it? He says, no, I mean, I thought girls like doing this. I should have known. And let me tell you, if you've got an idea of what you want to do, I don't blame Bridezillas one freaking bit. I once tried to watch that Bridezilla's reality show, and I remember at the time everybody's like, oh my God, this Bridezilla, she's insane, listen to her talk about all this stuff. So I'm finally watching it like 25 years later, and the women who were considered Bridezillas, they were either not asking for anything big, not being stubborn about anything really worth being combative about. And when I say that, I mean, there was one woman who's like, okay, I love this guy. He loves me. He has 3 sisters and an overbearing mom, and they all wear tons of makeup. And they think I should be wearing tons of makeup too. And that's a big hell no for me, dog. So the whole thing was she didn't care about the dress. Let them pick out the dress. That's fine. But they called her a Bridezilla because she didn't want to wear a bunch of makeup on her big day. They hired a makeup they hired a makeup artist for her. And she said, I'll use your makeup artist, but I don't need you guys hovering over me. And they're like, okay. It's all about compromise. You're going to look great. And they're talking to the makeup artist before they get sequestered out, and they're saying stuff like, now make sure she looks real pretty the way that you do it for me. Oh yeah, we look fabulous, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as the door closed, the bride's like, okay, for one, I'm not wearing my makeup like that. And if you do my makeup like that, I will wash it off and go naked-faced. And he's like, girl, I got you. I got you. And she looked beautiful for her wedding day. Just enough makeup to make all of her beautiful features just show up in pictures. She looked stunning. Her husband thought she looked really good. The in-laws were not impressed. They were very, what did we pay this guy for? I have a feeling that guy's like, I've done lots of weddings. I'm not going to get sued over a wedding and lose my shirt. Not going to do it. The bride is the final word. That's the punchline I was waiting for. They weren't happy. Oh no. Because, you know, they do that whole talking head thing at the reality show where they talk to the people about, oh, well, the final result looks like this and like that. Of course, there were those bridezillas who were just ridiculous, but those are not really the ones that stick with me. And to be honest, most of those bridezillas were under the age of 25, and the meanest ones were the ones that were still teenagers. But I have gotten rid of a lot of my streaming services. My husband is still watching a lot of stuff. I have Netflix and whatever else he's decided that he's subscribing to. So I don't get to watch. I canceled Hulu, so I don't have that anymore, you know. All I did was help money-wise, offered to be there, help in any way I could, remember the date, and show up in pants. Yes, dear, please wear pants. That's hilarious. That is too hilarious. You know, my ex, he is, see, I didn't really give a damn about certain things. Like I didn't care what the groomsmen were wearing, they just needed to be in suits. But about a month before the big day, he decided, I want all my groomsmen in tuxes. I don't want to be the only person there in a tux. And I thought, great. And I'm the bridezilla. I said, you don't have to do that. Weddings are expensive. He's like, well, it's a wedding. People have to wear, you have to wear suits. You have to wear a tux, right? No. No, you don't. You can wear the colors that I gave you. Don't spend a lot of money. Don't make your friends spell that money either. Boop, 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 boop. Wear the colors that I gave you. Wear the colors that I gave you, gave you. There was a lot going on around my first wedding that I probably should have postponed everything for. And that's regretful, but I don't think I'd change anything, really. I mean, it was difficult. But if I hadn't gone through all of that, I don't think I would have met a lot of the people who are in my friend circle today.
Welcome home, Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions. Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Discovery Houston.
Like, I think my game group, the people I play tabletop with once a week, I would never have met them if I hadn't gone through that divorce.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I think the biggest mistake that I have made since the divorce was that one guy who came home with me and then just wouldn't leave. That's my only regret. My wife's brother is the reason I have the gaming table I have today. Sometimes things just work out the way they're supposed to. That's turning out kind of nice. Here we go. Let's look at the picture real quick. Nice. When I was invited to family dinners, he and I just got talking about the extracurricular things we were involved in. And after about 6 months of chatting back and forth about board games, gaming, D&D, all that sort of stuff, he's like, well, you need to come to our table. That's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. So I was going to tell you that Hippo has decided that, well, he decided a while back that he liked the idea of painting miniatures, so he invested in a few things. And so he's been having fun painting those miniatures for D&D and such. I thought, oh, okay, that's great, because my husband paints Warhammer figures. And you know, if he's got any, they can compare notes if they want to. That's all nice. So I went over to their place and we did an art stream. And he was in the background doing his thing. And I was painting that little Mice and Mystics figurine. And I guess they've been talking about actually buying that game so they can paint those figurines. I hope he does a better job painting them than I did. He ended up painting my rats, my rat warriors, and they turned out really good. Your friend has since married and moved down to North Dakota, but the group now are some of my closest friends. That's how it works. That's how it works. I consider like the people that I do lots of creative stuff with as family and close friends. I haven't really talked to them in a while, but it's kind of like, hey, let's visit. And it's like nothing, no time has ever passed. Like no time has passed at all. Your wife's brother. Oh, that's the one in North Dakota. Okay. I've only been in that particular part of the country maybe once or twice. North Dakota isn't the one that has Mount Rushmore, right? It's South Dakota that has Sturgis and Mount Rushmore, I think. Yeah, that's South Dakota with the Black Hills, yeah. I think we all have and appreciate those friends that they might not be anywhere near us and we might not see them all the time. But it's like, pick up where we left off, you know? Oh goodness, it's getting really late. Well, let's see. I do need to wrap it up for tonight. Mainly because my husband is probably going to go to bed here in the next 45 minutes. How did me and Irene meet? Oh, well. I'm trying to think about it here. Irene and I met at, I don't remember if it was an open mic or if it was, we had been put on a bill together at a venue down in Georgetown that doesn't exist anymore. But she was fresh to the area. And she had her guitar and she was singing some of her songs. And, well, I've never been one to just, let's make friends, let's hang out, let's do this. And Ron thought she was cool. Blame Ron. Ron thought she was cool, and he says, we should do another show together. And I think he was the one that invited her to the band. We always got on, we always got along. It's just that it was mainly Ron that led us to the relationship that turned us into friends. And while Ron gets a lot of crap from both of us. But that's mainly because, Ron is he's very dynamic. His energy is very forward. And if he sees something that, sounds cool, let's just do it. Let's do it. That'll be great. This sounds great. This is a great idea. Like, I don't know if you've ever attended one of the streams that we had with C-Star. C-Star Ron is playing with their band now. Faye and Captain, really long hair. They play this kind of Celtic rock. Well, when I first met Faye, it's because he saw her. He went to like a little early show. He saw her. He's like, hey, I'm Ron. I think you're really cool. Why don't you come and open for our band tonight? And so he shows up at the show we were going to play, and here's this young woman here, and I'm like, oh, who is this? And, oh, this is Faye, and she sounds really cool, and she's going to open for us tonight. What? And it turns out his instinct was right, and she had a beautiful voice, and she was very entertaining and fun, and I have a lot of respect and love for Faye. She's amazing. I would love to hang out with her and her husband more because they're both really amazing creative people. But as far as relationships that have survived the band, Irene and I actually see each other a lot more often than I see any of the others. That breaks my heart a little because, we still all will do things for each other. If we need you there, then if we need you, then we're there for each other kind of thing. We just, when my band split up
Irene was just starting to encounter some strange issues with her health. And the other band members, they have, kids in high school or whatever, and then they had to figure out how to send a couple of them to college, all kinds of stuff. Life just started to get to a point where it was probably better to participate in that than be in a band. Was Natalie Page someone we knew, or was it just someone you met during the pandemic when everyone was streaming? I don't think I met anyone streaming until several years after the pandemic had hit its peak. So I don't know if I can speak to that. Was it actually Natalie Page, or is that some, because that name doesn't ring a bell for me right now. Might just be someone that Irene knows that I know now based on, that Irene made a boatload of friends during the streaming era, the COVID streaming era. Just people scare the crap out of me, man. I don't know anything. They may have done charity stuff together, or together wherever stream. Yeah, it's probably a good idea to ask Irene. She knows everybody, and she is an excellent networker. So she could probably tell you stories about all of these people. That streaming boom, that's where I met Irene and would come on Saturday nights and hang out with her and her husband, and then became a mod because of the music knowledge. Oh yeah. I didn't get the hang of streaming for a while. I was too depressed. I was very depressed because I had to cancel my birthday party because of COVID, and I felt like I was going to lose all my friends. So it was a rough time mentally for me. Although Irene did encourage me, she did say, you need to do this. It'll be fun, you'll get to meet people. And I'm like, oh, maybe, I don't know. And I think the start of my streaming stuff was when I did the, what did I do? When I did the Inktober stuff. And streaming the Inktober stuff was not easy. But it was still a lot of fun. Yeah, when I was talking with her offline about our stream, she kept mentioning you and wanting to get you into streaming because she figured you would enjoy it. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right, yeah. Yeah, it's really too bad that they couldn't get into that D&D thing when we were doing it. I think it just didn't agree with them, honestly. They needed something to break them into that role-playing space, and not everybody's into D&D. I know that for me, I have some elements of D&D that I like more than others. But I think that they just needed something that was not quite so, I don't know, you need a lot of knowledge of statistics and to be able to juggle a lot of numbers, and I think the creative stuff kind of gets pushed off to the wayside. I was still new at DMing, and I didn't realize how hard it was to welcome in and make those who are new at the game comfortable. So probably a lot of it is my fault. I don't blame you. I blame the whole thing on how complex D&D actually is compared to how it's perceived on television and in media. Because D&D had a huge boom after Stranger Things, you know. A lot of people wanted to try it out. And they don't realize how technical it can get. I mean, the whole reason that 5e was created, I think, was to make it easier for new people to join the game, you know. And DMing is not easy to do. At least, I don't think it is. You have to, you have all these different branches of a story. It's like writing a choose-your-own-adventure in real time. I like 3.5 because I like all the number crunching. My brain works well. If I was smarter and had more knowledge back then, I wouldn't have used 3.5. I would have introduced them to 5e. Yeah. I think 5e probably would have been a better fit, but I have yet to play 5e. So I don't know how much easier that is. My current game group, they are cherry picking. Do you know what I mean by cherry picking? They've been playing since first edition. So they take monsters from this edition and strategies from that edition, and there's a lot of homebrew stuff going on, you know. And most of the time, I can't follow. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I stick with it. One of these days, they're going to let me roll for a backflip. One of these days. But they like the number crunching too. They are really big on that number crunching part. So I think you might actually enjoy playing with them. Just simply because they love those numbers, and you know, here I am, I'm a newbie, and I'm asking them all these questions based on the 5e player handbook. And they're like, no, we're not going to use those rules. We're not going to use those rules. Those rules are silly. They're for Philistines and plebeians and cavemen. Okay, I'm going to move my camera back up. So this is what we've got. We got a background going on here. It's funny the way that you had talked about DMing is exactly what my brain likes. I love the ability to have the whole world laid out in my head and the improvisation of when your party is supposed to go this way and they go that way and everything has to be recalculated. I'd never found something that was so suited and so satisfying for my creativity. You know what? I'll tell you this. It is absolutely. You can't plan too much. You know, my DM, she was saying that, remember, you can write a module and try to guide them the right way. But a couple of years ago, I had a group that decided to go through the back door instead of the front door. And they hit all of the high-level boss. They hit all the bosses. All of them. When they weren't supposed to get to them until later. She says it's unpredictable. You just have to explore and do those things that you know, trust your gut. But right now I'm also playing with a bunch of people who've played together for a really long time. Me and my current DM talk about it. You could sit there and plan out a castle for 4 hours, work out all the details, every room, everything, then introduce it to them while they're walking on the road. And they're like, yeah, that's nice. There's a castle. We're going to keep going to the city. Yes. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. I think I've got a pretty good thing going on here. Okay. So looking at this and looking at my little picture here. Well, that turned out looking a lot better than I thought it would. Look at that. Can't wait to show my sister. She's still very much thrown that I decided to paint this photograph. It makes me laugh. There was one time with you guys in one of the rooms because I felt the rooms were all starting to sound the same. Against one of the walls, I threw some pillars. And for about half an hour, you guys wouldn't leave the pillars alone. I remember that. And figured there had to be something to them because this was the first time you'd seen them. And it was more just decoration in the room. Yeah. Ooh, what's this? Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Look what we got there. Just decorations. You know, ever since I started talking about D&D, my phone has picked it up, and now it shows me a lot of D&D fantasy stuff. And it's kind of funny that some of the things that it shows me were little skits about how each of these classes will open a door. And so there's one person who, you know, wants to cast a spell, and somebody else wants to listen at the door, and then somebody else wants to pry the door open, and then there's the barbarian that just kicks it down. So that's what happens. So I am done with this for today. I think I've painted all I'm going to paint for this evening. And I have not figured out a strategy for what happens when I return to work. I have an idea that my room is going to change. This area, I have this tablet, this illustration tablet here, and then I have a big thing on a mount here, and then I have my laptop, and this table, I have to rearrange it and reset it up for every stream. Which is one of the reasons I was thinking maybe I should just do music or painting or illustration or art. But I like doing both of them because they both bring me joy. And if you're not doing something that brings you joy, why do it, right? And right now I have lost the lid to my palette. I'm sure it's here somewhere. At any rate, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've got like a whole other desk over there that I need to go through that I haven't yet. So it'll happen. The painting is starting to come together really well, thank you. It's coming along a lot better than I thought it would. I can't wait to get to the figures in the middle. It's gonna look great. So that said, I'm going to let you go. I'm gonna go and have a conversation with my husband and make plans for the weekend. This is my last stream before my stepson comes back. And the house starts to smell funny again. But we'll see how it goes, right? We'll see how it goes. I think he and I both needed to have time apart. So we'll both be refreshed. Yes, it was very nice talking to you, and I would like to thank all my lurkers and all my people who dropped by. It's been a fun stream. I want you to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and let somebody be good to you. And so I will see everybody on Monday, okay? I'll talk to you later, okay?